It's showtime. Randy. Randy. See, this is what I love about having my own mother, I'm a curse on purpose, motherfucking podcast. Because I can talk about controversial shit, right? And I can talk about what I want to talk about, okay? So, Randy, let me ask you a question. When you think about phenomenal athletes, strong, powerful, athletic, you think about athletes from what part of the country? When you think about strong athletes, the best athletes in the world, what part of the country do you attribute the best athletes to? Think about it now before you say it. What part of America, right, are those big, strong athletes from?
The South.
There you go. Bingo, bingo, bingo. What do they say? Bada bing, bada boom? The South, right? So now, as you talk about the South having the best athletes, right? So that's why SEC football is so good, right? SEC football is so good because those big boys down there in Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, them boys is big, strong. Them boys is serious. Is that fair? And you know, on East Coast, you know, you got good athletes, decent, whatever. The California boys, the pretty boys, the cool boy, whatever. But down south is where you find the athletes, and that's why SEC football is so dominant. Is that fair?
Yeah, true.
Now comes the controversy, Randy. You ready?
Yeah, what is it?
Are those big, strong athletes down south so strong because of slavery? Yo, no, but let me tell you why. So listen, okay? Think about this conceptually, okay? Down south is where, right, slavery reigned, right, for 400 years, approximately. And in those regions, okay, that big, strong, strapping young woman, right, was bred with that big, strong, strapping man to make the biggest, the strongest babies, to create a generations of slaves that can work longer, that can work harder, that were able to take more abuse, right, et cetera, et cetera. Is that fair?
Well, that's the history.
I mean, people,
That's the history.
people were bred, okay?
Yeah.
And so are we seeing the remnants of that in the SEC? Like, I mean, it's a crazy concept, right? But are we seeing the remnants of slavery in the SEC? It's a crazy concept, right? And it sounds racist, right? but are those big, strong athletes that play for Alabama, that play for Auburn, that play for Ole Miss, that play for all those schools, right? We are descendants of slaves, right? But as we know, right, slavery was a huge thing in the South, obviously. I mean, that's where slavery reigned. And so do you think it's ironic now that the strongest, more athletic, the biggest, those big bucks down south in Alabama and South Carolina, they come from states that the slave trade and that slavery ruled in?
You know, that's something that I never once even thought about.
Hey, Randy, that's just beautiful.
There's some relevance to that.
I mean, so of course,
If you
Randy.
get out your feelings.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Scientific relevance.
So, Randy, everybody want to always say, I keep it a buck. I keep it so real, right? So ultimately,
No pun intended.
no. So, but everybody gonna say, "Oh, Frank," but listen, I keep it real, right? And I talk about things that people are afraid to talk about, and that's the great thing about having a podcast, right? When you're on these networks, you can't say certain things because they're quote unquote politically incorrect. But guess what? I can talk about what the fuck I want to talk about. And I believe the reason why SEC football is so good and all of these great athletes, because most of the kids that are playing for SEC programs, and by the way, you even go to places like all over the South, right? I mean, you talk about, players playing for Texas, you know what I mean? All these kids from the South, man, are going to these huge football schools, and they are the best athletes that you can possibly find. And so I just wanted to touch upon a topic that I thought was interesting as I thought about it, you know what I mean? And I tried to look at it as objectively as I can. But are we seeing the remnants of slavery right? When we look at the top SEC programs and we see these kids the way they look, they're 19 and 20-year-old boys, and they look like grown ass men, right? Naturally. And then you add, they start training table, eating good, training with the best trainers, and these guys are crazy. I mean, that's why when you watch football games in the SEC, it's like a damn car collision every time these guys are hitting each other, because these guys are built like you can't possibly imagine.
They're very solidly built, super strong. I mean, there's some guys from the South that don't work out like that, and they're still strong.
Are they descended as those big, strong mothers and fathers that those pussy-ass slave owners were breeding, right, to make this super race almost, right, this super race of incredible athletes? By the way, something to think about.
Definitely is something to think about.
Something to think about.
Nobody even wants to touch. But
all right, so, you know, I had to put that out there, Randy, as we talk about all things, and we keep it 100. And Randy, if you think about what I'm saying to you, okay, about the slave owners breeding, right, us blacks to be elite in terms of strength, speed, everything, right? If you think about this, if we talk about, in our minds, the best athletes ever in sports, you think about people like Herschel Walker, right? Woo, University of Georgia. That boy was doing push-ups, sit-ups, and he was the strongest motherfucker you ever seen before. You talk about guys like Big Bo Jackson, who, in my opinion, is the greatest athlete ever. If you look at Bo Jackson, if you combine strength, speed, athleticism, like Bo Jackson, to me, he went to Auburn, right? And if you look on the basketball side, okay, I mean, Michael Jordan is a bad motherfucker when it comes to athleticism, right? And Michael Jackson was from, not Michael Jackson, excuse me, Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan was from North Carolina, right? So, but look, I mean, Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker, I mean, can you find better? I mean, those look like just some big slave motherfuckers. I mean, I hate to say it, but them boys look like they was bred to be pure motherfucking thoroughbred athletes, right? Let's keep it real now, Randy. I know, Randy, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to talk about no controversial shit. You understand what I'm saying? As a black man, you don't want to talk about the slave shit and all that kind of stuff, Randy. But just think about what I'm saying. And it has a lot of validity to it, bro. Am I right? Am I wrong?
well, you're right. There's
Reluctantly, Randy. Come on, Randy. Come on, Randy. Stop fronting.
They didn't say and what took place in the past, but we're seeing that come.
You see it. Listen, it's no
that
coincidence.
breeding, that manipulation
It's no coincidence.
of
When you
human
think about
beings led to what we see today.
Randy, as soon as I said to you, we're the best athletes in the world, your mind instantly went to the South. We all think that. We all think, but like, boy, them motherfuckers from down south.
We never think
The origins.
why until now.
There you go. I just told you why. As I said, we keep it 100.